Hello, everybody. All right. All right. So with that, I welcome everybody to the Mikestand. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. I hope some of you had a chance to catch last night's show. We had our weekly discussion panel. Anyways, I'm gonna put some music on for a moment to take care of a couple things real quick, and then when I come back, we'll probably talk about what's on tap for tonight, and just go and then just get into it. I'll be right back. Okay then. So now with all that said, we're gonna go over 4 articles tonight. Basically, they're all they're all comics related. Of course, we're gonna go over a couple from Bounding into Comics and a couple from Bleeding Full, including um, a new Batman and Robin series from DC. They introduced the female successor to Hush named Shush. um, the real name of Wonder Woman's daughter, Trinity, pays tribute to the wife of William Moulton Marston, so, of course, the original creator of Wonder Woman. Also, we're going to look at a profile piece from Bobby Green in regards to how Jewish American comic book creators, how they help to form a lot of the lore, and how today's modern woke artists are just dismantling it. And then and Marvel celebrating 50 years of Howard the Duck. So that plus the wrestling wrap up and this day needs history with all that. All that being said and done. Hey Rick, thanks for dropping in. And as always, guys, of course, if you can like and share the stream, you can like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. So with that. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. All right, so here's our first article we're going to go over tonight. We're going to jump right into this. Let's see. Just past the 5-minute mark here. All right, so dawn of DC's new Batman and Robin series to introduce female successor to Hush named Shush. Shush. Article by J.D. Augustine published this past Friday. All right, so there wasn't much of note to report coming out of Comic-Con in San Diego, but I don't know. There were a few things of interest that we saw, but that I saw, like the whole Dark Horse story. But I digress. But one announcement is getting attention, and not entirely for the right reasons. It was unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con that a new villain is on the scene to strike fear in the heart of Gotham City, and also make readers quizzical through her connection to a popular Batman rogue. At the Dawn of DC booth this year, the debut of Shush, in issue number 2 of Batman and Robin, was previewed. And if something sounds familiar or derivative about that name, it's because she is the beneficiary of Thomas Elliott's evil bandaged mantle. Shush is a new version of Hush, and also the latest instance of a gender substituted character. Well, at least they didn't gender swap her, though. They just simply, from what the headline just previously read, they just made her the daughter of the previous villain. We know little more than what comicbook.com does about her. It's not even certain if Shush is related to Elliot or connected to him in any way, other than co-opting his gimmick. The creative team of writer Joshua Williamson and artist Simone Di Maio don't have much to say, since it's their business not to spoil the surprise. I guess there's a tweet here saying DC literally out of ideas. Pathetic. So somebody founding in the comics, I guess, and take too kindly to okay. We use the word quote unquote, and smaller quotes, surprise loosely, in this case as an established character receiving a protege, offshoot, what have you, or being assigned a new identity, gender flipped or not. It is nothing new in the world of DC and comics. Still, that said, even we didn't think this news was serious at first, though we can't put anything past the industry these days. Whatever the newcomer's agenda, it likely won't be fully revealed in her first appearance. Quote, introducing Shush. Who does she work for? And how have they turned one of Batman's greatest tools against him? Urban Jungle continues as the father and son dynamic duo are on a deadly case. But first, Damian must deal with his first day of school, unquote, the synopsis hypes. And what's it? Is Shush going to be like one of Damien's classmates, I guess? The best educated guess is she has some sort of impact on Damian Wayne, which would make sense if she goes to school with him. How did I? How did I just call that? Did I not just say in the previous before even reading that? Is this going to have something to do with her and Damian Wayne? Oh boy, I must be psychic, right? Or I just read between the lines very well. Shush sounds like a play on her. Yeah, I think that was intentional, Rick. I think they made that point in the. Well, at least they gave her a new name. Female version of Hush. Let me guess. Damien is shushed in school. Maybe, Rick. Maybe. That seems to be where they're going here. Let's see. Yeah, we read that part. Considering Hush was a childhood friend of Bruce, it's logical for Williamson and DeMeo to follow in that tradition, picking up after Batman vs. Robin and Lazarus Planet. Batman and Robin launches in September. Issue number 2 hit stores in early October. So there we go. That article kind of went quickly, a little quicker than I thought it would. But it is just more or less just an announcement. So this next one might go a little quicker. Might go quickly too. I think I picked like 4 articles for tonight. Yes. All right. So, anyways, getting back to the articles here. Getting back to the articles here. Real name of Wonder Woman's daughter, Trinity, pays tribute to the wife of William Moulton Marston. Just in case you don't know who that's William Moulton Marston was the guy who created Wonder Woman and actually based the original design of his Wonder Woman on his wife and live-in lover from his polyamorous affair. The original drawings of Wonder Woman were kind of a combination of his wife Elizabeth Marston and Olive Byrne, his other lover there. Article by J.B. Augustine, published July 28th, or published last Friday. So, Wonder Woman has a new daughter who debuted in issue number 800, which marks the conclusion of Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad's run. Tom King and Danielle Sampier take over in December as the ones guiding the path of young Trinity and her civilian identity. In case you wondered, no, Trinity is not her real name. As Polygon divulges, when she is not out and about as an adventurer, Trinity goes by Lizzie, which is short for Elizabeth Marston Prince. The last name is that of her mother, Diana Prince, the commonly accepted as canon alias of the Amazon warrior and daughter of Zeus. Still, the rest of it remains a mystery narratively. Albeit, for those of us who, of course, know Wonder Woman's history, we know exactly who Elizabeth Marston was, right? I just explained it. Elizabeth Marston was the wife of Wonder Woman's original creator, William Moulton Marston. Oh, in small quotes here, Marston could be a clue to Lizzie's patronage if her father is not Steve Trevor. However, we won't learn more about this wrinkle until King's Wonder Woman series gets going in September. So the truth will take time to be revealed. What we and even casual comic industry historians know, is that the name is a tribute to one of her mom's creators. Mhm. William Moulton Marston is credited as the primary creator of Wonder Woman, and often as the sole creator. But historians say it is possible he took inspiration from his wife and their shared live-in mistress. The former's name was Elizabeth. The latter mistress was named Olive Byrne. Both had children with Marston and resided together long after his passing. They also collaborated with him and inspired traits Diana Prince carries with her to this day. For example, Byrne's choice of jewelry was the likely inspiration for the bulletproof bracelets. Olive Byrne and her polyamorous arrangement with the Marstons, um, as well as other, in smaller quote, binding comic tropes, was depicted in the film Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. Now, for those who may not remember, many of the Golden Age, now I've not just read the synopses, but also some of the actual stories. And yes, a lot of the early Wonder Woman stories, a lot of the stories that Marston came out with, did have a lot of you know bondage fetishism involved in them. That is a callback to the Golden Age. But fear not, Tom King will keep Trinity current too by making her a braggadocious girl boss that spouts off about her superiority to her allies, Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent. You can look forward to that when it arrives in the fall, if you really are looking forward to it. But I don't think any of our crowd is really looking forward to that, right? Trinity's going to probably be the one who claims to wear the pants of the group. Anyways, with that, with those two articles out of the way, let's get ready to continue on to the next one. So the next article we're going to look at here, this one might be a little, I would think it should be a little longer, but we don't know. Sometimes some of these articles go shorter than we really think. Alrighty then. So let's get to this. All right, so here's the next article we're doing tonight. Jewish creators shaped the comic industry, and modern wokesters tore it apart. Article by Avi Green, published on Saturday the 29th. There. Okay, so and my guess is that's Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster right there. My guess is who those two are. So this is Avi talking here. Jewish Unpacked told the history of how Jewish American industrialists and creators originally shaped the comic medium in the Golden Age. But of course, without getting into any deeper look at how many famous classics with Jewish creators have since been tarnished by woke ideologies, it says about Stan Lee, And this is the art. Now we're getting into the article here. Actually, I wasn't even sure I didn't even know if Stan Lee was. I get actually now that I think about it, because it never occurred to me that Stan Lee may have been Jewish, because but then I just remembered that his Stan Lee was not his full real name. His full real name, I think, was Levin, Stanley Levin. So, which Levin, I believe, is a yeah. So, raised in a predominantly Jewish neighborhood in the Bronx, Lee later adopted his pseudonym to avoid anti-Semitism within the comic book industry. Lee's Jewish upbringing is reflected in characters like Spider-Man. He said he wanted to infuse Spider-Man with what he saw as the essence of Jewish values, stating, in quotes here, "To me, you can wrap all of Judaism up in one sentence. And that is, in smaller quote, do not do unto others, unquote, unsmaller quote. All I tried to do in my stories was show that there's some innate goodness in the human condition, unquote. Noble effort. And that was, so now back to Avi here. Regrettably, even modern Jewish industrialists don't respect any of that, and anti Semitism is still a massive problem everywhere. Proving efforts to combat it through even comicdom have been a failure. Joe Quesada and Bill Jamas certainly did unto Lee and others quite an injustice when they set in motion the dissolving of the spider marriage, which will likely never be mended. And that doesn't matter to these historians. The history article also brings up Art Spiegelman's mouse, is from the article that they're referring to there. Recently, the book has been at the center of controversy as it was banned by Tennessee School Board last year for having, quote, rough, objectionable language, unquote. Banning a mouse, quote unquote, only proves how comic books and graphic novels are far from mere entertainment. They are powerful expressions of history, identity, and human resilience. They challenge societal norms and give voice to narratives that might otherwise remain silent. Going back to Avi's, and this one ended up being short. Wow. The problem is left wing Spiegelman himself doesn't seem to be protesting altruistically, and no mention made whether Will Eisner's graphic novels could fall victim to the same problem. So, what's being accomplished if nobody's willing to address the meatier issues involved? That's why, again, this article is just plain unsatisfying and hard to believe the writer really cares. All right, I don't know. Okay, in this case, so I think Avi may have been a little. I think Avi is normally pretty thorough with his stuff here, but this article was weak. He didn't really delve into it like he normally does. I'm a little disappointed in this because I was for something like this I was expecting it to be longer and a little meatier, but this was neither. Makes me wonder if is Avi just getting tired or is he just outright getting lazy? Uh, Oi. Hey, Woody. I was actually looking forward to that article, just figuring it would be a little bit meatier, but I guess not. All right, so wow, these 4 articles are really just blasting through them pretty quickly here. All right, so Marvel celebrates Howard the Duck's 50th anniversary in a special one shot. So Howard the Duck, I guess Marvel 50th. So I mean, back in 1973, I guess. Article by John Pallister, published yesterday. Wouldn't it be a big surprise here if this ended up being the longest, thickest article I read tonight? This November, fans are invited to a birthday blowout for one of comics' most unique characters in Howard the Duck #1. Announced this past weekend at San Diego Comic-Con, Howard the Duck's 50th anniversary one-shot will be a giant-sized spectacle that will reunite writer Chip Zdarsky and artist Joe Quinones. The Snake Show creative team behind Howard's smash hit and critically acclaimed 2015 ongoing series. Joined by other writers and artists eager to put their own spin on the fan favorite icon, Zdarsky and Quinones will get into the nitty-gritty of the Private Eye's hectic history with a feather-raising journey through the Howardverse. And I remember there was also a movie in, I think, the 80s based on this as well. Let's see. The collection of all new tales will tackle all the different paths Howard could have taken during his offbeat adventures and pose fascinating questions for the Furious Fowl's future. Try saying that one 3 times fast. Furious Fowl's future, Furious Fowl's future, Furious Fowl's future. Meet Howard. He's a hard-boiled PI with problems by the duckload. But a cosmic, all-seeing friend known as the Peeper is giving him a chance to see what his life could be, the joys he could have, all the ways his life could suck way less than it does now. In other words, why if, quote unquote. Here's some of the craziness that readers can look forward to. Emmy-nominated writer and comedian Daniel Kibblesmith and acclaimed artist Annie Wu put Howard in the Oval Office, inspired by the classic tale from Steve Gerber and Gene Colan's 70s run. Howard the Duck has been sworn in as president. Find out how gutsy he is as commander-in-chief when the Earth is invaded by aliens in this startling political satire. Video game designer and writer Merritt Kay makes her Marvel Comics debut alongside artist Will Robeson with a cosmic comedy that sees Howard the Duck leaving the chaos of Earth behind to take over as leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh boy! Playing Star-Lord is all fun and games for Howard until some of his most iconic classic villains band together to take him out once and for all. And more. Check out the main cover and variant cover by Ron Lim and pick up Howard the Duck #1 on November 29th. So here we go. Howard the Duck. You got Thor and Incredible Hulk right there. Right outside. He's looking like, oh man, what did I just get myself into? Look at that face. Look at that face looking like, what in the world did I just get myself into? I'm about to get my rear end handed to me. Ah. 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 And the articles went pretty quickly tonight. Well, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to try to see if there might be one more here. Clear things out a little bit more. If not, I guess we'll move on to the wrestling. And there is some stuff going on. All right, yeah, it looks like. All right. So, anyways, I think that's all the news we have for tonight. All the articles based news, anyways. Um, I do need to step away for a quick moment. I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and turn on some music for you guys while I'm gone. I'll be right back. All right, we're back now. So now we're going to move on to, of course, the wrestling wrap up here. As we do have some stuff to cover from, of course, WWE, AW, um, WWE, AW, and Impact Wrestling, as well as the passing of a wrestling legend in his own right, and we'll talk about that um, in a bit here. I just need to. So this Saturday, of course, is WWE's this Saturday is WWE's SummerSlam event. As of course they'll be having shows tonight's Monday Night Raw, coming to everybody from the Toyota Center in Houston. And say thus far, Valhalla of the Viking Raiders will be taking on Maxine Dupree, and then Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins will be teaming up to take on Judgment Day members of Damian Priest and NXT North American Champion Dominic Mysterio. Now, we'll, of course, go over the results tomorrow night and all that. But, of course, as they're now working towards this Saturday's SummerSlam, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Just checking something here. Uh, uh, All right. So with that, let me see. I just was checking something here. So, anyways, as I was saying, WWE will be having SummerSlam this Saturday. And with that, and we just went over the card for tonight's Monday Night Raw, or these couple of matches that were already signed. So let's see. Let's go over. And of course, one of the other angles that's been going on is, albeit they have in the past talked about splitting the Street Profits up to potentially give them a chance to give them potentially a chance to give them singles pushes. They've also been having Bobby Lashley talk to him about possibly getting together with him and for Lashley to reform the faction known as the Hurt Business with Street Profits. Now, this Saturday from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, WWE is going to be having a SummerSlam event. Main event is going to see Roman Reigns defending the WWE Universal titles, the Tribal Combat match against Jey Uso. You'll have Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa in his corner. Seth Rollins defends the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. Brock Lesnar will be taking on Cody Rhodes in their rubber match between the two. In a triple threat match for the WWE Women's title, Asuka will be defending against Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair, two former women's title holders. Let's see. Gunther defends the Intercontinental title against Drew McIntyre. Ricochet will be taking on Logan Paul. Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey will be taking on each other, and to open it up, there'll be a SummerSlam Battle Royal already announced for the Battle Royal are Sheamus and LA Knight, with more participants, I guess, to be announced over the next few days here. So that's all that's going on in the WWE. Now AEW, of course, as AEW marches on to the end of the month, coming up on the 27th, they'll be having All In. They still haven't announced any matches for All In as of yet. Now, of course, some of the matches that happened over the weekend here on Friday, and then, on Friday night's Rampage, do we get over to it? Okay, so on Friday night's Rampage, they opened up the night with a tag team battle royal to determine the number one contenders. Okay, that'll keep me logged in. All right, so the Rampage started off with a number one contenders battle royal among some of the several tag teams to see who would next challenge the winner of Saturday night's Collision match. The winners of that battle royal were Big Bill and Brian Cage. Commander defeated Kip Sabian in 10 minutes 30. The Kingdom, the tag team of the Kingdom, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven defeated the team of Hayden Backlund and Myung Jae Lee. And then the main event saw Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose, two former AEW World Women's Champions, take each other on with Hikaru Shida defeating Nyla Rose and getting a AEW World Women's title shot at Toni Storm on this Wednesday's Dynamite. We'll reiterate that a little bit later. Also, that was on Friday, and on Saturday's Collision, the main event of Collision, of course, saw FTR retain the World Tag Team Championships over Adam Cole and MJF. Also, Mercedes Martinez defeated Kira Hogan in what appears that Mercedes Martinez is now acting more like a heel, as she would continue a beatdown on Kira Hogan after the match for TNT champion Chris Statlander came out to help before Mercedes Martinez jumped her, claiming she's coming after her title, and then Willow coming out to save Statlander and Hogan from further punishment from Martinez. The Bullet Club, in a six-man tag match, Bullet Club Gold members Juice Robinson and the Gun Club, Austin and Colton Gunn, defeated Action Andretti, Darius Martin, El Hijo del Vikingo. Samoa Joe defeated Gravity in a non-title, as he's the current ROH World Television Champion. Darby Allin defeated Minoru Suzuki, as Darby Allin right now is considered the number one contender to the TNT title now after recently winning. And in a ladder match to regain his match, and Andrade El Idolo defeated Buddy Matthews of the House of Black. Now, of course, on this Wednesday, on Dynamite 200, as they call it, because this Wednesday will be the 200th episode of Dynamite. On that show, coming from Tampa, Florida, coming to you from the Youngling Center in Tampa, Florida. Chris Jericho will be teaming with Konosuke Takeshita to take on Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. Seemingly a breakdown of the JAS. In a anything goes three-way match, you have Trent Beretta of Best Friends taking on John Moxley of the Blackpool Combat Club, and they are also taking on as the third member Penta El Zero Miedo of the Lucha Brothers. For the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, Aussie Open defends that title against El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander. As mentioned earlier, Toni Storm defends the AEW Women's World title against Hikaru Shida. Shida, being a former champion herself, has been trying to get the championship back ever since. And in another six-man tag match, the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks will be taking on the challenge of Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh, who will have Sanjay Dutt in their corner. That's all that's going on in AEW right now, as they continue to prepare for All Out, even though they have, as far as I know, they don't have any matches announced as of yet. I don't know if they have any matches signed or announced as of yet. I guess I can take another quick look here. All In, rather, not All Out, All In. I'm sorry. All In coming from Wembley Stadium. They have it sold out already, but they have no matches signed for it. That's kind of interesting. They don't have any of the matches signed for it. They just, and it's still 3 weeks away, mind you, but still, that's a long time to go without making any matches. Now we move on to Impact, as Impact will be having some shows coming up. The Multiverse event coming up on the 20th. Their co-venture with New Japan. Sanada, who's the current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, will be making his return to Impact Wrestling at that event. Also, on the 27th, Emergence, in which it was just announced over the weekend here, or at the show on Impact Wrestling this past Thursday. It was announced that Deonna Purrazzo will be utilizing her rematch clause to get a shot at Trinity. She'll be doing it at Emergence, which will be on the 27th. Of course, the weekend of the 26th and 27th will be quite a busy weekend in the world of professional wrestling. We'll be talking about it quite a bit. As you have the 26th and the 27th NWA 75th anniversary show going on. The 27th, you have All In from AEW, Emergence from Impact Wrestling. So you have quite a busy weekend going on there. But on this past Friday's on this most recent edition of Impact Wrestling, the opening match saw Trinity, the current AEW Knockout Women Champion, teaming with Dani Luna to defeat the Coven, who just came off of their loss to MK Ultra, Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly for the Knockout Tag Team Championship. It was after that match that Deonna Purrazzo came out and stated that she was going to utilize her rematch clause at Emergence. In a loser leaves Impact Wrestling match, Johnny Swinger defeated Zicky Dice. Giselle Shaw defeated Masha Slamovich in a one-on-one action, potentially setting up a potential tag team title defense for MK Ultra against Giselle Shaw and possibly Samantha Evans. The Time Splitters, Alex Shelley and Kushida, defeated Brian Myers and Moose, as this would set up a bit of a four-way battle. As of course, after the match, Moose and Myers attacked Shelley and Kushida. Leo Rush and Bully Ray came out to beat up on them, and then you eventually have Josh Alexander and Chris Sabin coming back in to even up the odds. Zachary Wentz defeated Mike Bailey, and in the main event of the evening, Eric Young defeated Nick Aldis, as this was, I believe, Aldis' last match with Impact on this short-term contract. But after the match, of course, Cody Deaner and Cone came in and attacked Eric Young. So that's all that happened on Impact Wrestling. Is they have some matches coming up later on. So with that, now we're at the 50-minute mark here. So now we're going to go ahead and start really winding down here. As we now will go ahead, let's see, 2013. We will take a look back at this day in each history. All right, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wait. Oh, wait, actually, before I do that, there is one more piece of wrestling news I do have to kind of mention the wrestling wrap-up. So some of you who might be a bit older might remember this name, Exotic Adrian Street. Adrian Street was a Welsh professional wrestler. Started out in England, from the 70s and 80s. Started out over in, of course, working on like All-Star Wrestling and ITV wrestling over in Britain. He's competed and won a few, I think the British middleweight and light heavyweight championships. Then eventually, along with his valet and real life wife, Miss Linda, came over to the States and was well known throughout the territories, particularly the Southern territories, where he would portray kind of an effeminate male character. Obviously, he wasn't the first one to do it, as Gorgeous George Wagner was the first one to do it, but Adrian Street kind of popularized it in the late 70s, early 80s. Kind of a very effeminate male character. He passed away yesterday at the age of 82. He had returned to he and his wife, Miss Linda, had returned to Wales after Hurricane Ivan destroyed the wrestling school he was running. But he passed away at the age of 80, or 82, over in England. So I want to just do a quick moment of silence for him, and then we'll move on to this day in each history. Alrighty then. So with all that being said now, let's go ahead. Today being the last day of July 31st, 2023, let's take a look back at this day in each history. And the first thing, of course, I would like to do is I'd like to wish a happy birthday. I'd like to wish a happy birthday to Japanese voice actor, Toru Furuya. Now, obviously, here in the States, we wouldn't know him too much unless, of course, you heard his voice. If you're somebody who likes to watch the subtitled versions of Japanese anime. But for Japanese fans in particular, he was the Japanese voice, of course, for Yamcha in the Dragon Ball franchise, Sabo in One Piece, Tuxedo Mask in Sailor Moon, and Amuro Ray in the Gundam franchise. So happy 70th birthday to Toru Furuya, the Japanese voice of Yamcha from Dragon Ball, Sabo from One Piece, Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon, and Amuro Ray from Gundam. So there we go. Now moving ahead to on this date, and that, of course, is 70th birthday. Now heading forward to 1973, 50 years ago today. On this date, 50 years ago, during a NWA Florida event, Tim Wood would defeat Paul Jones, the NWA Florida Heavyweight Championship, and Mike Graham and Kevin Sullivan. Yes, that's the same Kevin Sullivan who was a Taskmaster in WCW. This is obviously young during the early days of his career, but Mike Graham and Kevin Sullivan would defeat the team calling themselves the Samoans at the time. This is before Offensica. This is a different team that went by the name Samoans. Tio and Reno Tafui for the NWA Florida Tag Team Championship. So on this day in NWA Florida, Tim Woods would defeat Paul Jones with the NWA Florida Heavyweight Championship, and Mike Graham and Kevin Sullivan would defeat the Samoan team of Tio and Reno Tufui for the NWA Florida Tag Team Championships. So moving on then. Moving ahead to 2013. On this day in 2013. First off, on this day in 2013, the fifth and final issue of BPRD Vampire from Dark Horse Comics went on sale on newsstands on this day back in 2013. So on this day, 10 years ago today, fifth and final issue of BPRD Vampire from Dark Horse Comics went on sale on this date 10 years ago today. The story was titled Vampire, written by Mike Mignola, Gabriel Ba, and Fabio Moon, with, of course, Gabriel Ba and Fabio Moon doing the artwork. Lettering done by Clem Robbins, and David Stewart doing the coloring. And 2013 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As on this date 10 years ago today, actor and voice actor, Michael and Sarah passed away at the age of 82. Of course, everybody knows him primarily as portraying Kang from Star Trek, the original series. He, of course, would reprise that. I believe he reprised that role as the voice of Kang in the animated series as well. And he also did a few other voices as well, including Mr. Freeze in the DC animated universe. Of course, Batman the animated series, among other shows. General Warhawk in Rambo: The Force of Freedom. Vashtar in Thundar the Barbarian's Prophecy of Peril, and Hiawatha Smith in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends episode Quest of the Red Skull. He passed away. Okay, he passed away at the age of 91. Actually, not 82. That's my bad. Passed away at the age of 91 10 years ago today. So there we go. All right, everybody. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, we'll be back here tomorrow night, and every night. We'll be back here tomorrow night for more Niche News. Don't forget, this Friday, of course, is our historical comic retrospect, where we take a look back at comics that went on sale. And right now, we're working our way through November 1939. This week, we're going to be focusing in on books that went on sale from Fox Feature Syndicate. We're going to be looking at, of course, Fantastic Comics, Wonder World Comics, and Mystery Men Comics, and such features as Samson and The Flame and Blue Beetle and Zanzibar the Magician. So my co-host, of course, will be Rick Piper of Cross Comics. I hope you guys will come back tomorrow night for more Niche News. Back on Friday when we get together to do the historical comic retrospect. And with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.